How's it going, guys? Airsoft Man 819 here. It's great to be back. I finally have all the camera equipment I need to fully resume my reviews as I did back in the day. I have a tripod, I have a good camera, I can use both my hands, I have a good spot to film. Everything is just great here. So I figured I would pick right up where I left off and start doing reviews again. I uploaded a teaser of this gun not that long ago. And I figured I would go ahead and do the review today because I received all of my camera equipment today. So today's review is going to be on the Maruzen P99 gas blowback airsoft pistol from Japan. I've always been a big fan of Japanese airsoft gas blowbacks, just for the simple fact that they're just so much higher quality than the Taiwanese counterparts, and they look a lot better, they function a lot better, overall, they're just better guns, and that's why I like these. I received this gun about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks. I've been shooting it a lot, getting familiar with it, and I think I've shot it enough to give you guys a good review on the pistol. Now, most of the Maruzen guns now, especially pistols, come in boxes like this, at least the Walther ones. It'll say Walther, Umarex, Maruzen all over the box. I think the PPK comes in a box like this, and so does the P38. I actually might be getting a P38, but I'm not sure about that. So nothing on the back really, just some warnings, and it tells you on the front what it is. So let's go ahead and open it up. So you'll first be greeted with the manual. This manual is decent enough. It tells you how to disassemble the gun, which is actually pretty important, because if you don't know how to disassemble the gun, you could end up breaking it or taking up way more time than you should trying to figure out how to get it back together. So this is a good manual. I don't know if there's a parts breakdown in here or not. Let me check real quick. I'm not seeing a parts breakdown in here, guys. What does give you a disassembly guide, it tells you how to use the speed loader and stuff, so I mean, I guess it's worth keeping around. Okay, so you get your Allen wrench for adjusting your hop up, which is important. You need to hold on to this. You get a sample pack of 0.2 gram BBs. These are good BBs and you can use them, although you'll probably blow through them pretty quickly. You get an old school style plunger speed loader. You put this on top of the mag, stick this tube on here, fill this full of BBs, and you just jam them down into the magazine with this tube. It works pretty well, but I really wouldn't recommend using it. There's no real benefit to using it. You can load the magazine pretty fast by hand. And then you get the gun. The gun actually will come inside this bag, but I just didn't put it back in there because I didn't feel like it. It'll also have an ugly orange tip on there, which I pulled off. Taking the orange tips off your airsoft guns is okay, as long as you keep them on private property and keep them out of public view. That's just my opinion. Get the box out of the way. So here's the gun. This one is modeled after the first generation of the Walther P99. Some of the differences between the first and second generation, mainly it's the rail. The rail on the second generation is a regular Picatinny rail or whatever. This is some proprietary Walther thing where if you wanted to have a regular rail, you have to buy an adapter and screw on here. So they decided to get rid of this proprietary rail a while ago. I don't even know if they're still making the regular P99, but I do know that they ditched this rail. This ski hump or whatever they call it right here, this little bump in the trigger guard, they got rid of that. They changed the slide serrations a little bit, and yeah, that's pretty well all they did to it. They just changed it up a little bit, made it a little bit more user-friendly, but I still have, I don't know, I just like the first generation guns like this a little bit better. I just think they look sleeker, they have a neater look to them, and I just like them overall. And plus, this is the gun James Bond used, so I don't know, a lot of people didn't like the fact that James Bond used this gun. I think this gun's pretty sweet. Also, the safe action, not the safe action, but the anti-stress double single action trigger mode this gun has, they also did away with that a while back also. But I think it's a sweet gun, and Maruzen replicates it perfectly. You see it has full trades, it's licensed by Umarex. It says Walther P99 there. Got Walther on the grip. Walther on the other grip. You have some safety information over here, made in Japan, and you got kind of an annoying warning printed on the slide. At least it's not printed in white, but it's still kind of annoying, and you have a serial number here. I don't know if this is a unique serial number or not. I would venture to say not, but I'm not sure. It could be, because it's licensed by Umarex, maybe they require that, I'm not sure. Overall, it's a beautiful looking gun. It has a really good look to it. It looks really convincing. From the sides, you couldn't even really tell it's an airsoft gun unless you look down the barrel and see the airsoft barrel there. One thing, though, that I did not like about it when I first picked it up out of the box is it's extremely light. It just doesn't have a whole lot of heft to it because the frame and slide and barrel and most of the major components of this gun are plastic, because this is a Japanese airsoft gun and they're not allowed to make their guns out of metal in Japan in fear that they could be converted to real firearms. So they have to conform to those laws to build their airsoft guns. Just because it's lightweight and made of plastic does not mean it's low quality. Japanese gas blowbacks tend to be higher quality than most metal guns, and I would put this in that category. But there are some metal parts on this gun which I will show you guys now. The mag release, right here, that's metal. Your slide lock is metal. Your decocking button on the top, that's metal. Let me think. Your takedown right here, that's metal. And a lot of the internal parts are metal. But the slide, outer barrel, guide rod, sorry, I bumped the tripod there. Your guide rod here, your trigger, your frame, your sights are all plastic. I wish there would have been more metal on it. I wish the trigger would have been metal, the guide rod, the sights, a little bit more would have been metal, because the Maruzen P99 has quite a bit of metal on it. This doesn't have quite as much, but I can forgive that because this is a nice high quality gun. But being Japanese, there are some quirks to using it, which I'll tell you about now. The slide return spring is a bit weak. Let me remove the magazine, I'll show you guys. It's just a bit weak, it just feels really loose. It doesn't have a lot of tension to it. Because it's meant to run on duster gas, and duster gas is not as high pressure as green gas or propane. So the slide spring feels a bit weak, which was a bit disappointing, but I understand why they did it because it's a Japanese-made gun. I would only recommend running this gun on duster gas. The reason being is I've heard many accounts of the P99 breaking from people using green gas and propane. So I have an easy solution if you want to buy one of these guns and actually run duster gas through it. Basically what you do is, here's a can of regular computer duster that I bought at Walmart for like $4, and I have a duster adapter on the end of it. Basically what you do is, let me take this off, you take the regular spray nozzle that it comes with from the store off, and you have this little plastic nub here, and what you do is, you buy this. I can't remember where I bought this from. I bought it from some airsoft store. You just got to look it up. Duster adapter. Basically what you do is you just stick that on the end of the plastic nub, and now you have a fill nozzle for your gas mags, and you can fill your guns with this. And it's of equal pressure to that of 134A from Japan, and you will not harm your gun shooting your gun with this. So this is my easy solution to shoot duster in your Japanese-made gas blowbacks. So like I said, the pistol is high quality. Comes with a nice metal, high quality 24 round double stack magazine. Maruzen's always been pretty well known for having good mags, and this is no exception. It doesn't leak, it doesn't misfeed, it has no problems loading. It looks good. The finish on these, though, they use some sort of powder coat and it rubs off really easily. Like I said, I've only had this gun for a couple weeks and it's already starting to rub off on the sides and on the back. But that's okay, it gives the gun a more authentic look anyway. But to load it, what you do is you just pull your spring down here, drop your BBs in one at a time. The entire thing is metal. There's not a single piece of plastic on this. The base plate is a solid chunk of metal. The follower is metal. The feed lips are metal. The whole top of the mag is metal other than this rubber seal right here. The release valve is solid brass. The fill valve at the bottom is solid brass. Very high quality magazine, holds gas really well. It also says Walther, cal 6mm BB, Maruzen. So very nice mag, no problem with that at all. The P99 is actually not really that hard of a gun to get used to, even though it has a weird trigger mechanism to it. The magazine release is kind of the H&K style, where you push this lever down, and it is ambidextrous, so you can release it from this side or this side. I find that some people will actually release it with their thumb. I find that to be kind of awkward because you kind of got to reach your hand around and hit it with your thumb. I just end up hitting it with my trigger finger or my middle finger on the other side. And when you do it that way, it actually works fairly well. Your slide lock is right here where most pistols have it, and it's on only the one side. It's not on the other side over here. You just press it down and release the slide. I've heard some people complain about how the gun doesn't lock back on empty. I think that happens because people use green gas, and it recoils so hard it doesn't give the slide time to lock, and that's why the slide doesn't lock back. But running on duster gas, this gun locks back reliably every single time. So you have your decocker up here. I'm going to go ahead and explain the trigger mechanism to you guys the best I can. Even though this is a striker fire gun, at least in real life, the Maruzen gun really isn't, but in real life this is a striker fire gun, but it still manages to have a full double single action decocking mechanism in it. And they called it the anti-stress trigger design or trigger system. And Walther only made that system for a few years before they opted out for a more traditional safe action style trigger. Sorry I keep bumping the tripod, it's kind of in my way. But anyways, this essentially works like a double single action pistol. So right now the striker's cocked, indicated by this red pin in the back, and basically it's a single action gun right now, but you can see the trigger is forward like a double action would be, so it looks like you have this really long trigger pull, and you do. But what you can do is when the gun is already cocked and you don't want to pull the trigger all the way, you just pull it halfway back and it'll lock. And now it's locked in what is called the anti-stress mode, and now you have a nice crisp single action trigger. And as long as you ride the trigger when it's in this mode, it will stay back. But we see when I fire the gun and the hammer is decocked, the trigger will return forward, and now is it in double action mode. In double action mode, basically you can drop the hammer on a live round and carry it with the hammer down like you would a double single action hammer fired gun. You can see now it's not cocked, it's in double action mode. Now if I pull the trigger, I'll have a really long hard pull in double action. You can see the pin retracting in the back here. So if I wanted to go back to single action, I would have to cock the pistol, and then I can lock the trigger in anti-stress mode, and now I have single action. But if my gun's cocked, and I want to holster it and put the hammer down, you see this button right here? You just push that button down, and it drops the hammer. Now you have a fully safed gun that you can holster and not worry about shooting yourself in the leg. Obviously it has an open chamber because it is a gas blowback. Has a nice big open chamber there. You can see the gas nozzle in the back there. Overall, a nice open chamber, looks nice and convincing. It even has the tilting, makes the barrel look like it's tilting like the real one. Very nice. Has an adjustable rear sight. Has a 3-dot system. Overall, nothing to complain about there. Overall, though, this gun is just really nice looking. I really like the way it looks. It just it's really convincing. The frame looks like it almost has like a fiber reinforced thing going on there, and it has a nice texture to it like real polymer would. I really like that feature about the gun. The trigger pull on single action is actually really nice and crisp. Once you lock in anti-stress mode, you have a little bit of take up here. It stops right here, and you just have a nice crisp single action. Double action feels kind of sloppy. It feels kind of crunchy and just not good. I wouldn't recommend using double action unless you have the pistol holstered. Performance of this gun, for a Japanese-made gas blowback gun on duster, it's actually pretty good. I can hit a decent-sized target, not too big, a little bit smaller than a man-sized torso at about 40 yards. I can hit it about 7 out of 10 times, which isn't too bad for a pistol that's only shooting about... on duster gas with .2 gram BBs, this gun is only shooting about 260 feet per second. So it's not something you're going to get those really long kills with in woodland, but it's really good for CQB. And if you want to upgrade it, these guns are upgradable if you can find the parts. You can put metal slides on them and stuff and use green gas with them. On green gas, this gun would be a much better performer, but like I said, it's kind of limited due to the plastic slide and the weak trigger system. The trigger system in these guns, because they're so complicated, when they're ran on duster gas, the trigger mechanisms tend to fail, which is the biggest problem with these guns, is they just have such a complicated trigger mechanism that running them on green gas will just break it, basically. And that's sad because this gun would really benefit from using green gas. So I'm going to show you guys how to disassemble this gun and how to adjust the hop-up. So basically what you want to do is drop the magazine, which should be standard for all pistols anyway, but drop the magazine, and then make sure the gun is uncocked. This one is. And you just want to pull down on the takedown levers on both sides, kind of like a Glock. And the trigger will go forward and actually lock the takedown on the down position. And you just give the slide a little tap and just slide it right off. Okay. Here's your internals. You can see how complicated this trigger mechanism really is down in here. It's really complicated. It's actually scary how complicated it is. Okay, so now you have your slide, you have your blowback unit and everything. You see this little hole right here? What you do is take your little Allen wrench. And if you have an Allen wrench at your house that's comparable size, you can use it as well. But you basically stick this in the little hole here, and you tighten it to increase hop up, loosen it to decrease. And that's how you adjust your hop up. Now, you can dig the barrel and stuff out of the slide if you need to. I don't really see why you would need to do that unless you're putting a different outer barrel or a different inner barrel in there. Everything's nice and capted. Nothing's going to fall out. Basically, what you want to do is you take your frame, take your slide it back on the same way you took it off. Once you get to about here, this little piece right here is going to get in the way of the slide. What you want to do is you want to push that down, let the slide clear it, and give it a little bit of a push. Pull the slide back, lock it down, pull the trigger a little bit to release the takedown, and now your gun's back together. So overall, I would recommend this gun for people who would actually take the time to run it on duster gas. But if you're just going to buy this gun and throw green gas in it, I would not recommend it because this gun will not last very long on green gas. But if you're committed to using it on duster gas like I am, and you want a really awesome replica of a P99, look no further than this one because it's really awesome. It looks great. It looks like a real one. It has a good solid feel to it even though it's light. The grip just feels amazing. I mean, compared to any other pistol, this grip is just flat out amazing. The way it's curved, the way it contours to your hand, it just feels like the gun was built to sit in your hand. It feels extremely comfortable. It's got a good trigger. It's accurate enough to do damage, and it's high quality, and it's awesome. So I would highly recommend this gun if you're committed to running it on duster gas. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later.